we must be citizen-facing. We must be citizen-facing. Accountability, as we have talked, enhancing the institutional accountability. You are accountable to the citizens. All of us. We are accountable to the citizens. So let us not just talk about accountability as a distant item, pointing at the need for those others to be accountable. We must also point at ourselves. To what extent are we ourselves respecting the whole principle of accountability? The concerns affecting county assemblies are not partisan. They are institutional concerns, and when institutions function well, governance functions well. When governance functions well, service delivery improves. And when service delivery improves, the people's confidence in devolution is strengthened. As we move forward, let us remain guided by constitutional fidelity, mutual respect, and shared commitment to the people of Kenya. Where reforms are needed, let us pursue them through consultation. Where disputes arise, let us resolve them through engagement. And where institutions require support, let us strengthen them in the interest of the Republic. The IEBC will be talking to you. They are conducting their voter registration. If we look at the numbers, what do our wards look like? What do the numbers in our ward look like? And we must go for civic education and talk to our people, because if I ask you here, young people are telling you simutupange ndio tuende kuandikisha. They are waiting to be mobilized. They are waiting to be incentivized. Where did we go wrong? Because voting is for the benefit of the people. But now we are reaching a stage where we are beginning to get debates out there where somebody wants to be greased so that they can go and register as a voter. And I know you are experiencing this. It is our collective responsibility to go back and talk to the people that we need to vote for a different purpose, for good governance, and therefore we need to empower ourselves. We have strong institutions which have been tested, including the High Court, the Supreme Court. Kenya is the only country that you can really talk about where a presidential election has been nullified. But the citizens have gone back and gone for a repeat election. You tell me which other country, not just in Africa, tell me which other country globally has actually had a presidential election nullified. So this message is so important that we are a nation and we must remain a nation and we must remain united and we must strengthen our institutions and we must respect the rule of law and we must make sure that the way we have always had elections every 5 years since independence in 1963, there shall be no breach of that tradition. There shall be no breach of that pattern, and what we must continuously refine is just the process of election itself. Our pride, our strength lies in being a nation that respects the rule of law. It is important to note as well, as chair of the National Government Steering Committee of the Government Legislative Assembly, which is driven by Madam Aurelia, working with the County Government Coordinating Summit, we concluded the Intergovernmental Relations Sector Forums Regulations 2026 and conveyed the same to Senate for approval. The regulations provide a framework for establishment and conduct of business of sector fora as key intergovernmental structures under the Intergovernmental Relations Act. I can honestly and distinctly stand out and say that when I was Minister for Local Government, I put in place the first 6 pieces of legislation that enabled us to have devolution before the election in 2014. So I have a vested interest in devolution, positive. What is the economic value of peace? What is the economic value of peace? And listen to me carefully. I'm not asking you what is the economic value of the port. I'm not asking you what is the economic value of the airport. I'm not asking you what is the economic value of the road. I'm asking you what is the economic value of peace and stability. Distinguish. We all know there's a crisis in the Middle East. You now have a situation where even you have the best airport with you, but it is empty. There's no maritime activity. Supply chains are being disrupted. Children are not going to school. Whether it's in the Middle East, whether it is in a nation in Africa, what is the economic value of peace? So we are going to an election. And I was sitting with the senators there, particularly the lady senators, and they spoke. We must make sure that we do not encourage violence as we head to elections. We should not be underwriters of violence. We want a democratic nation, a democratic process. That is where we shall build our nation. And that is why I'm asking you this fundamental question. What is the economic value of peace and security? In this room, we are capable of making a resolution, individually and collectively, that we shall not be underwriters of violence. And we want to see free and fair elections. Honorable members, Let me assure you that the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary stands ready to continue facilitating goodwill across institutions. The concerns affecting county assemblies are not partisan. They are institutional concerns, and when institutions function well, governance functions well. When governance functions well, service delivery improves. And when service delivery improves, the people's confidence in devolution is strengthened. As we move forward, let us remain guided by constitutional fidelity, mutual respect, and shared commitment to the people of Kenya. Where reforms are needed, let us pursue them through consultation. Where disputes arise, let us resolve them through engagement. And where institutions require support, let us strengthen them in the interest of the Republic. If we were to have a chart here, I am born in Vihiga, I come from Vihiga. If we were to have a chart here, and we said, let us look at specific indicators. What is the poverty level of the citizens? What is the indicator for food security? What is the indicator for health? What is the indicator for the fight against violence against women? What would I see? Now, Vihiga is where I was born. But now multiply it with the other 48. 47 rather. We then need to ask ourselves, what are the indicators that matter? What are the indicators that are citizen facing? So that we can have impact with our people. I want to challenge you as leaders so that you can reflect deeply on these issues. Because more often than not, and I've been saying this quite lately, we are sometimes putting a lot of emphasis somewhere else, and the impact on the citizen is not being felt. At what point in our career, our 5-year career, do we lose focus on our targets? To the extent that re-election is now a mirage. So where do we lose it? Ladies and gentlemen, we have at least 1 year to make amends. Tujipange, tujirekebishe, mambo yasiwe magumu mwaka ujao. I would like to encourage you as leaders that as you reflect and talk to Kenyan issues, as much as we must address welfare issues, please, as leaders representing people, do not fall into the trap of becoming a trade union movement. Do not fall into the trap of becoming a trade union movement. In trade unions, we have the principle of collective bargaining. Perfect. Manage it. moderate it. But your principal target is the citizens of this country. So, as you evolve in other legislative assemblies, I know you have sessions lined up. The controller of budget will speak to you. The chair of CRA will speak to you, and other experts or stakeholders will speak to you. But let us ask ourselves, what is the impact to the citizens